Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Roth. I am the policy specialist for the Illinois Society of Professional Engineers, and I am here today with Zach LEACH and Sarah WENZEL with Prairie Engineers, winners of ISPE's Best Places to Work for Engineers 2021 in the Small Firms category. Zach, Sarah, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you.
So let's get this kicked off. Why don't you guys just take a few minutes, tell us who Prairie Engineers is, what services you provide, and who the two of you are and what your backgrounds are.
All right. I can start us off. So I'm actually relatively new to Prairie Engineers. I've been here about a year and a half. I've been in the civil engineering industry for about 11 years now. My focus is mainly transportation, roadway design, and at Prairie, we offer various engineering specialties, and we do everything from site designs to civil roadways and structures and drainage, environmental. So we have like a very vast background of services that we can offer in engineering. So yeah, like I said, I'm relatively new here, but it's definitely a great company to work for, and we're excited about the award.
Yeah, and I've been working here since 2017. This was my first job after I graduated from U of I, and I work in the hydraulics department. And I know that this is an area that we've been expanding in a lot, and every year since I've been here, Prairie Engineers has steadily expanded both in numbers in our geographic area and also in the services that we offer. And yeah, it's been a great time here.
What do you guys credit to the company's success in this competition? What's kind of the secret sauce that Prairie Engineers has in their relationship with their employees?
Prairie Engineers does a really good job of identifying their talent. And just in the same way that like a job seeker would go out and try to look for the best fit, I think Prairie Engineers really, in their hiring process and then throughout the years, will take a really employee-oriented approach. And so I know like in my career, I've sat down with the manager like many times, and we've talked about specifically like, what are your talents? Like, what are you good at? And then the follow-up to that is that we get work that is specifically tailored to, not just me, but our employees. And our growth is based on the fields that our employees are good at. And they've just really done a good job at doing that. And then another thing that Prairie Engineers does really well, I think, is we publicly congratulate our people whenever they have an achievement. So we have like an ongoing message board that always has a little congratulations pop up whenever somebody achieves a certificate or they get like client feedback. And so I think that really contributes to a good supportive atmosphere where we really focus on our strengths.
Add to that?
Yeah, I would just add that, our owners are very interested in the development of their people. They're willing to support any resources that employees need to be successful in their job. Sarah mentioned they're constantly meeting with you and asking for feedback and giving you feedback as well as an employee, which is helpful to know, what you're doing well, what you might need some work at, or, some help in. But they're just very vested in their employees, and they want to see everyone succeed, and they make it very well known.
Obviously, for everyone, 2020 and 2021 was, shall we say, an interesting year or interesting years. What have you guys done? What has happened at Prairie Engineers to try to keep employee morale high at a high level?
Sure, I can take this one. So obviously, things kind of came to somewhat of a grinding halt, back in February and March of last year. Prairie is in very diverse markets of work. We do state and federal work as well as local work, and a lot of the state and federal work, slowed down drastically. So the first thing they did was, following protocols that were out there, they backed a lot of their staff off to work from home. So they had a huge expenditure with their IT department, getting everybody working at home. And then, the challenges of still keeping teaming and, everything that we were used to working in the office similar to as we were working at home. And they were very dedicated to that. I mean, we went through the transition fairly seamlessly. We use technology here that, Microsoft Teams and just different, platforms that really help us work from home and work from various offices. I mean, we have 6 or 7 offices in the company, and it's just like working across the hall from somebody. So that definitely helped. We have like virtual happy hours where we can get together and kind of see each other and talk.
Yeah, I just want to add on to that. I think one of the reasons that our transition during COVID was so seamless from working in the office and working at home is that we're already a pretty unified company across offices, in that we don't necessarily have a single department working in an office. Like, we don't have a geotechnical office or a hydraulics office. We just have an entire team of people who live pretty much where they lived before they were hired, and then they just work at the office that's closest to them. And so our communication, even before COVID-19, and our collaboration between offices was pretty good. And also, we just like working with each other. We have a really good group of people here.
So what does it mean for your company to be winning this award?
As we talked before, recognition is just always a nice thing, and knowing that you're doing something well, it makes you feel good. And so from the company's perspective, they're a fairly young company comparatively to other engineering companies in the area. They've grown fast. As I mentioned, we have 6 offices and 50 some employees, and that's it's grown fast from their inception. So to be recognized and just know that they're a shining example and that they're doing the right thing is just a great thing for the company. But
I do wanted to ask this of both of you. You have some experience under your belt, but you're also younger engineers. And one of the things that ISPE is working on in coordination with our foundation, the Illinois Engineering Initiative, is getting younger people involved in engineering and interested in becoming PEs. So do you guys have any advice to younger people who are perhaps interested in engineering or looking at getting into it or just starting a career?
Yeah, I would say that if you have an interest in engineering, you should definitely look around, because the engineering community is, we may seem shy, but we're not. And I know that there are plenty of people who, if they have a young person reach out to them, would be happy to take on a mentor. Also, look into the engineering programs that are put on by your city, because a lot of cities will do engineering just like orientation or sort of outreach events.
I would also jump in and say there's been like a big push lately for like STEM programs in high schools and middle schools and things like that. And I think that really helps, because it gets younger kids and middle-aged kids or even high school age kids really involved in other things besides engineering. But engineering tends to be a pretty good focus in the STEM program. And when I was going through middle school and high school, you really didn't, at least in my area, West Central Illinois, you didn't hear a ton about STEM activities. But I know in the last 5 to 10 years, a bunch of schools have kick-started STEM programs and science fairs and just things that can really get kids interested from a young age. And then obviously that just parlays into them wanting to go to college and pursuing an engineering degree.